Today we're going to talk about how to avoid feeling like a failure when you don't get things done. So stay tuned. Hi, I'm botched, founder of 365 Plus. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to avoid feeling like a failure just because you don't get things done. So first of all, let's talk about you being a failure. The reality is that people aren't failures. We might fail at things, but people aren't failures. Repeat that after me. I am not a failure. You're not. Nobody is. No one's a failure. We all screw up. We all do things that aren't quite right. Things don't go to plan, but it doesn't mean you're a failure. It means we made a mistake. Something didn't go to plan. That's all it means. And that's the very first thing you have to hold on to. It's not about you. It's about the activity or the action you were doing. The second thing that I really want you to think about is, why do we fail? Why do we fail at things? Well, the reality is that we don't. Failures are really just lessons and learnings, and it may not feel like that at the time. It may feel horrible. It may feel like the world is ending. But the reality is that it's not. You're failing forward. Each time something happens and it doesn't go to plan, it gives you the opportunity to go, what didn't work here? How can I adjust? What can I recalibrate? What can I change here? What can I do differently to make sure that things are better going forward? And that's what it's all about. So you shouldn't fear failure. You should embrace failure. Failure is beautiful because failure stops you from failing over and over and over and over again. It helps you to just learn along the way and take these life lessons on board to make you stronger, more powerful, more productive, and more on track with achieving everything that you want. And you look at them like, Edison, how many times did he fail at making a light bulb before he did it? How many shots did NBA basketball players miss before they actually got the shots in? That's life. That's learning. That's practice. And you can't just avoid doing things because you're so fearful of failure. You have to give it a try. What if you're amazing at it? What if you're amazing at it and you're not even trying because you're so fearful of failure? So when you think about avoiding feeling like a failure, you have to remember, you are not a failure. You might have failed at something, but it doesn't mean you're a failure. The second thing is you have to reframe and look at differently around, what is it? Did I really fail or did I learn? Did it make me think differently? Will it make me do things differently next time? Will it help me to be a stronger person? And it might not feel like it at the time. Steve Jobs, he's got that beautiful saying, you can't connect the dots looking forwards, you can only connect the dots looking backwards. And that's what happens with failures. But you have to really reframe that in your mind and get set around, it's not about the failure. It's about the lesson. It's about what this is doing for me. This is about where this is taking me. Our paths aren't always exactly how we expect them to go, but it's still making us better, stronger people. And then the final thing that you really need to think about when you're thinking about how to avoid feeling like a failure is, it's a feeling. It's an emotion. We get to choose our emotions. We get to choose if we want to be happy or if we want to be sad or if we want to feel like a failure and the world is ending. We get to choose that. And I'm not saying it's super easy. There's external forces that happen and things that happen in life that are really crappy from time to time. That's true. But you get to choose. You get to choose. How am I going to respond to that? Because that's what really defines us as people, is it's not our circumstances. It's not the things that happen around us. It's how we respond to them. And if you want to avoid feeling like a failure, you need to think about, how do I want to feel? And you just show up feeling like that. So when something really, really difficult happens in your life, you go, okay, that wasn't great. But you know what? I want to feel like I'm accomplished because I've learned something from that experience. And then you need to focus on that feeling of accomplishment. Because let me tell you, if you focus on that feeling of failure, you're going to attract more failure into your life. That's what happens. Our brains, like, they literally filter all of the information that comes into our mind that really drives us, that makes us see what's around us. And when we think, oh, I'm a failure, 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 our brain looks for evidence to try and support that. Oh, you are a failure. Look at this other thing you screwed up, and you made this person angry, and you cut off that car, and you're a terrible driver, and oh, and you burnt dinner, and by the way, you didn't achieve that goal. All of these things, like, your brain finds them. But when you think, I'm an achiever, that might not have worked out, but hey, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to look at what I'm going to be able to do else, like, now that I've learnt this. And then your brain will go, oh, look at this opportunity and look at this opportunity. That's what it starts to look for. So you have to train your brain. You have to train your brain. You can't just leave your brain up to chance, because our brains can be crazy. So you have to absolutely take control of that and choose your thoughts and choose your emotions, because that's going to help you create those things in your life that you want. So there's some really cool ways for you to avoid feeling like a failure when things don't go to plan. So I want you to go back and I want you to think about this next time something doesn't quite go right, or you don't get something done that you wanted to get done. I want you to go back and I want you to think about, I'm not a failure. I've learnt lessons from this, and I'm going to choose to feel amazing and not crappy in this moment. So enjoy and live vivaciously.